Good morning, Manor Hill teachers. This is your first library tidbit, and we are going to talk about green screen today. So whenever you are ready to do that with your classes, this link will be available to you so you can go back and have a quick reminder of how to use green screen with your kiddos. They will also have the opportunity to learn it in library, so if you want to wait until that time where I can kind of go through with it with them and explain it to them, you are more than welcome to do that. But if you'd like to try it beforehand, this is where you need to be. I have already downloaded the pictures that I want to use for this green screen project, and then also I've recorded the piece of material that I want to have as my background for the green screen. If I go into my photos up here, you can see that I've downloaded some pictures of the mountains and a hiking trail, and then also below you're going to notice that I have a video that I taped with the green screen. We have the green screen set up already in the makerspace, and we have a tripod that you can use for recording all those different projects that you might do with your kids, and then you can kind of go from there. So I'm going to click out of this and go back to my main screen. We have 7 iPads in the library that will have the green screen app on it. The green screen app looks like this. It's called Do Ink. This is not a free app. We actually purchased it through the school. And so if you're looking to get it on your personal iPad to work with your kids, I think the purchase price was like $2.99. So not totally outrageous for something that kids really like to do. But again, there are 7 iPads in the library that you're able to check out and work with on your class. I'm going to go ahead and get into the green screen app to show you what that looks like. When you first start this, get rid of that live, get my screen back where it needs to be. When you first start this, it's going to send you to this page. It's going to give you a sample project if you want to check that out. But then when you're ready to start your own, you're going to head up here to the plus sign and click on that. When you do that, you're going to create a new project. If you want to name it right away, you can with this little settings symbol right here. You can click on that. Sorry, I keep clicking my screen instead of my iPad. You're going to put the title in. We're just going to call this Test Green Screen. And then close out of it. That way I'll have it in there. The reason why this is all black is because you haven't imported anything yet. This is where you're going to import your videos and your pictures to start your green screen. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do that. When I click on this plus button right here, I'm going to add my video right away. So I'm going to click on this video button, go into my recently added. Oh, there you go, clicking again. And the one that I have for you is about 1 minute and 50 seconds. So that's the one that I want. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to use this one to share with all of you. Now you're going to notice that because I was by myself doing this, there is some lag time in between when I'm actually in front of the green screen. You can go ahead and cut that just by clicking here on this button or holding it with your finger and just dragging it to where you want it to start. So I want it to start right when I come and sit down. And it'll pull forward until you're ready to go. So click again, and we'll say right about there. Okay, this is going to let my whole video show up on here. If I scroll with my finger, it's going to show all of the information that I have. Now you don't have to do a video that's this long. If you're doing segments with your kids, you would just add or load all of the segments that you have with your kiddos, and I can show you what that looks like when I get to the end here. So this is the end, and I don't want this lag time here at the back, so I'm just going to do the same thing I did at the beginning and pull that closed. If you were adding other videos of students, so if you had like 15-second clips of them, you would just click the add button and then add your other videos that come in. So if you're talking about animals or weather or whatever it might be, and you want to do one long clip with your entire class, then you would just continue to add the video in there. I'm going to click out of this plus button because I'm done with that, and slide this all the way back. Oops, here we are. Okay, now I'm ready to import my green screen. You can tell that it's ready to go because in this video it looks like what I had. One of the important things I want to make sure that you know about taking your video is that you need to have your iPad sideways in order to get the best picture. Otherwise you're going to have the lines on either side of your video, and that can be distracting for who's ever watching it. So just make sure when you put your iPad in the holder, the tripod, that you have it going sideways. It's black because it's ready to import pictures. So I'm going to go down to the second plus sign right here, click on that, and this time I'm going to add some images. And I'm just going to drop those in one at a time. The way that I'm going to drop these in is exactly the same way that you would drop in several videos that you would have of your kiddos. So I'm going to click on image. I'm going to go to recently added, and the first one I'm going to add is the trail, and then I'm going to use this one. And right away it's going to drop it back behind my green screen. If you notice, if you drag along here along the bottom, you're going to see that that picture is taking up the entire time. And most people don't want that. They want to add some different pictures in there. So I'm just going to touch this picture. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click trim, and it's going to cut where I have my line here in the middle. So if I still want to trim it, if I don't want it quite that long, you can go ahead and keep doing that. I'm going to trim it till about right there. Okay? And if you take away too much, you can always add it back in. Just because you trimmed it doesn't mean you've totally gotten rid of it. But I'm ready to add another picture. So I'm going to go over to my plus sign over here. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to add the image. Oops, on my iPad, not on this. I'm going to go to recently added, and this time let's say we're at the top of the mountain. And I'm going to use that picture. It's going to drop it right in there. So that's change in the background is going to be pretty seamless, and your conversation can change. So let's say you have kids that are talking about chameleons, and then you switch, and then maybe another set of kids are talking about turtles, and you want to make sure that you have the background change with them. So I'm going to click on this because it's in red. That's telling me that's live. It's what I'm working with, and I'm going to trim that because I don't need it quite as long as it is. And just again, extend it for however long you want to. The red line right here is going to tell me where it's going to trim. And I'm going to add another picture. Go to image. Go up to my recently added. It really helps to have your pictures downloaded beforehand. If the kids are going to have them, to make sure that you know what they are, so that this kind of moves seamlessly. So let's say I didn't want this picture. Let's say I wanted the picture of the mountain goats next. It's all in red, so it's live. I'm still working with it. I'm just going to cut it down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go back to my plus and add the picture that I want to have in there. Click on image, recently added, add my mountain goats. I'm going to use those ones. And I didn't have my line matched up perfectly with this one, so I'm just going to drag that line and add it to where they meet up. Okay, it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Most times it's just about working with the program so that you get comfortable with it, and you kind of know what you want to do with it. I'm going to add my last picture in here. Go to image. We have to leave the mountain because it is getting stormy, and I'm just going to let that finish out. Now that's a longer piece than I normally would have, but this is just for instructional, so that's okay. And I'm going to extend that to the end part of my green screen. So now if I click on, oops, go all the way to the beginning. Now if I click on play, it should run. Good morning, Maryhill Patriots. I'm here to talk about green screen today and let you know So I talked about the trail in this one, so I might want to go back and just make sure that the trail is on a little bit longer before I start to share. I'm going to go ahead and push pause on that. I'm going to save this video so that if I need to go and make changes on it, I can. So I'm going to go ahead and push the save button. And that's all in there. So when I go back into my main screen, my project should be there if I click on that. Oh, hold on one second. Let me get that back up there for you. Get my code on there. Thanks for hanging with me. There we go. And make that smaller. Drag this in here. Okay, we want to go on the test screen, and then all of my information is there. So kind of play around with it. Let me know what questions you have as you get started. You're able to add some other things down here that you can see with your 3 different plus signs, but you may want to just kind of mess around with it first to see what you're comfortable with, and then we can start adding in some other things. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.